Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at theDove.us. Well, welcome back. As you know, immigration is a big issue today, and the president had threatened to do an executive order during the recent summer recess of Congress to do basically a massive amnesty bill. And now that's been put off. The president says, well, he probably won't do that now until after the election because so many Democrats were upset that this may interfere with the election. Well, in the meantime, what about all of those who are in the United States illegally? Have they been betrayed by the president or the Hispanic community in particular? Well, we are having with us today Liz Peek. She is a columnist for FoxNews.com. And she also writes for thefiscaltimes.com, wants to talk about this. Hi, Liz. How are you today?
I'm terrific. Thank you. How about yourself?
Oh, doing great. Thanks for your time. I know you've got a tight schedule. Well, are you surprised that the president kicked the can down the road on this one?
I'm not at all surprised. He has wobbled and woofed on this issue of immigration reform since before he took office, constantly promising things to the Hispanic community, a pledge to, in this first 100 days, put before Congress a immigration reform bill, and it's never happened. And he has constantly sort of hopscotched around the issue depending on where the polling is. And so, of course, before the 2012 election, the polling in the Hispanic community grew increasingly negative about the president because he had not followed through on earlier promises, and worried that they would not turn out and vote for him. He, passed the executive order known as DACA, which was sort of a mini DREAM Act protecting young people against deportations. And sure enough, only 27% of Hispanics voted for Romney, and in several crucial states like Florida and Colorado and Nevada, the Hispanic vote was very important to reelecting the president. So, you know, where are we today? We're looking at another election. Hispanics are increasingly furious with this president because, once again, he has stalled on pushing or putting his personal capital behind an immigration reform bill. So once again, he promised to pull a rabbit out of a hat and do an executive order. But in this case, the red state Democrats, people like Mary Landrieu, are trying to hold on to their Senate seats, were very concerned that there would be backlash against that. So now he has delayed it. It's so transparently political that I think, you know, once again, his polling is sinking amongst Hispanics, as it is across the country. But I think really this is sort of the last straw. I think the Hispanic community is like, okay, we have given you the benefit of the doubt. We've believed you that you really wanted to do this, but now we're not so sure.
Well, they still need a liberal to do it, so who are they going to vote for?
Well, I think it's an interesting. We're seeing some interesting developments, mainly because of the surge of unaccompanied Central American minors across the border this summer. That really sort of hardened attitudes about illegal immigration in America. For the first time, astoundingly, national polling suggests that the country trusts Republicans over Democrats to solve our immigration problem. Wow. Note that the country thinks we have a problem, and we do. We can't continue to not deal with 11.5 million people in America who are undocumented. It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to the country. So my contention is that the Republicans actually have an opportunity here to stand up and sort of be the party of responsibility and figure out, you know, on several issues where there is widespread agreement, how we can actually move forward. One area of agreement is border security. Now, polls show that Americans are more concerned about border security than they are about enabling 11.5 million undocumented people here to gain some sort of access to legal status. That's a real turnaround from 6 months ago, and it's completely because of what happened on the border this summer. People were aghast. We consider ourselves to be a rule of law nation, and all of a sudden we saw that we were not a rule of law nation. So it was very worrisome. I think Republicans could present a better plan for border security. I don't know if you guys are familiar with James O'Keefe of Project Veritas, but he has put up in recent months 2 videos, one of him crossing the border with Mexico dressed as Osama bin Laden, unapprehended, walking all the way to I-10, just to prove a point that basically even someone who looks just like Osama bin Laden could enter our country. And he just recently, today or yesterday, put up a video of him driving a speedboat across Lake Erie with someone who's dressed like an ISIS terrorist and just walking into Cleveland. These are sort of comical videos, but they really highlight the issue that many on the right are very worried about, that our borders are pretty darned open. So that's one issue where I think Republicans could sort of take the mantle of responsibility again and put forth a proposal about that, how to make it more secure.
Liz, I think everybody is agreeing exactly with what you're saying. The problem is we don't seem to be seeing or hearing anything coming out of Republican leadership on this issue.
I totally agree with you, and it would be nice. After the 2012 election, Republicans really did some soul-searching about, we can't ignore this community as the fastest-growing voter bloc. I think they also should be reminded that it's not just that the Hispanic community is growing so fast. It's that young people in that community are the biggest part of it. That's up 43% in the last 4 years or something, eligible young voters who are Hispanic, who identify as Hispanic. Those young people are not politically committed. They are open, they're open to suggestion at this point. If Republicans have a whit of common sense, they will go after those voters, and they should do so.
Excuse me, what is that young Hispanic voter looking for? Are they okay with a closed border? Are they okay with not having a blanket amnesty issue?
Well, it's a good question. As I'm sure you have seen, polling in the Hispanic community does not put immigration policy at the top of the pile. It puts jobs and the economy. Like young people of all races or types, Hispanic young people don't have jobs, and that is a very, very paramount concern. So, I think the president has not done a good job of convincing the country that that's his number one concern. I think Republicans really blew it in terms of giving out that message in the 2012 election, because literally there has not been a month in the last 6 years where that was not the number one issue of concern to Americans. So that it has not been addressed really by either party in any sort of convincing way is sort of appalling. But anyway, I would say that, and education is also extremely important to the Hispanic community, and hopefully young people share that. I haven't seen polling that segregates young people versus the community as a whole on education, but I'm sure it's right up there. And I think, yes, I think they would also like to see, amnesty I think is the wrong word. I think what the Hispanic community wants, although people on the far left might describe it otherwise, I guess, but I think a path to legal status, that's what I keep talking about. Yeah. And I think most people would agree that that is a reasonable objective.
Yeah.
And not deportation, not citizenship necessarily, but some sort of legal status, which is good for the country.
Yeah, I think that's the whole. We're not going to gather up 11 million plus people and throw them over the fence. That's not going to happen. So you got to figure out a way to process this problem and identify them, bring them in out of the shadows, and then put them on some kind of a path that makes them legal citizens. And if there was a substantial or a comprehensive plan to do that, you'd probably win their support. But it's also been said that if the president does postpone his executive action after the election, let's say he does it, and the Senate turns over and the House stays pretty much controlled by Republicans, is there enough there to stop it?
Well, I think that's a good question, and that'll be a real deciding point for Republicans, because what the president knows is that he can sort of dangle this somewhat offensive act on his part, offensive to me because it is so blatantly political and because everyone is sort of saying don't do it. If he does that, he can be pretty sure that Republicans are going to jump up and down and make a lot of noise, and that will be good for Democrats in 2016, I think.
Right.
The tragedy here is, I think, that all these stop-starts, all these arguments about executive orders, et cetera, and this border surge, there's all these kids at the border, which without a doubt came about because of the DACA, it has really made the chance of comprehensive immigration reform, bipartisan, intelligent reform, it is just taking it off the table. And, that's too bad, because 5-6 years ago, we were very close to having that bill, the McCain not McCain-Feingold, but the McCain bill that was done with Democrats. It came very close to passing, and I don't see that happening very soon.
In the midst of all of this, Liz, there's been another phenomenon. We've gone from what would be considered legal status for undocumented persons, nice way of putting it, to border security because of terrorism.
Yeah.
This is kind of interesting because now border security is kind of preempting the whole immigration issue.
That's exactly right. And by the way, we have Eric Holder and Chuck Hagel and various people to thank for that, because they have raised the issue. And by the way, they're a legitimate issue. If we have Americans and Europeans going to fight for ISIS, they can very easily come home.
Yeah.
And the O'Keefe video about Canada was interesting, because I've been sitting here saying, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are English. The English can go to Canada,
and
easily.
Come across.
And who is looking at our Canadian border? Absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
So I think you have a serious issue.
Yeah. Hey, Liz, I hate to step on you. I'm out of time, but thank you. Terrific. Again, foxnews.com or thefiscaltimes.com. Check out Liz Peek's articles. Thanks, and let's get in touch again soon, okay?
Thank you. So I'll get my Skype working by then, hopefully. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.